Ajahure mana inanda nandana abhaya charanara. Dulava manava janamsat sange. Dulava manava janamsat sange. Baba he Baba Sindure. Taro he Baba Sindure. Itaha chapa patavadi sana edina jamini jagire. Itaha chapa patavadi sana edina jamini jagire. Vifale sevino kripana dora jana. Vifale sevino kripana dora jana. Sapala sukalava lagire. Sapala sukalava lagire. Dano Yovana Puchapari Jana Eteke Ache Para Titire. Dano Yovana Puchapari Jana Eteke Ache Para Titire. Vifale sevino kripana dora jana. Give me the first line. No, no. Well, I can't believe you. Kamala dala jala jivana tala mala. I can't see them. The third stanza, last line. Huh? Kamala dala jala jivana tala mala. Vajahu hari pada nitire. Sravana kirtana varana vandana padasevana dashyare. Sravana kirtana varana vandana padasevana dashyare. Sajana Atmani Vedana Pujana Sakijana Atmani Vedana Govinda Govinda Dasavi Dasare. Govinda Dasavi Dasare. Translation. O mind, just worship the lotus feet of the son of Nanda, which makes
cross over the ocean of worldly existence through the association of saintly persons. Both in the day and at night I remain sleepless, suffering the pains of the heat and cold, the wind and the rain. For a fraction of flickering happiness, I have uselessly served wicked and miserly men. What assurance of real happiness is there in all of one's wealth, youthfulness, sons, and family members? This life is tottering like a drop of water on a lotus petal. Therefore, you should always serve and worship the divine feet of Lord Hari. It is the desire and great longing of Govinda Das to engage himself in the nine processes of bhakti, namely hearing the glories of Lord Hari and chanting those glories, constantly remembering him and offering prayers to him, serving the Lord's lotus feet, serving the Supreme Lord as a servant, worshipping him with flowers and incense, and so forth, serving him as a friend and completely offering the Lord one's very self.
Punjabi ha. Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yachoda Nandana Pajajana Ranjana. Yachoda Nandana Pajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan, Shri Govinda Gopinath, Madhama Mohan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Maybe I should explain a little bit of chanting. You people know. So the idea of the chanting is that Krishna is not different than his name, and Krishna is all attractive. So his name is also attractive, but we're not experiencing that in the very beginning because we have dirty things in our heart, lust and greed and anger, and so Krishna is in our heart, but we don't see him, and he doesn't reciprocate with us because we're not pure. But the chanting will make us pure. We give the example of putting iron in a fire. Iron is not fire, but if you put an iron rod in the fire, it gradually becomes red hot. So similarly, although we're not Krishna, we can become Krishnaized or purified by chanting his holy name. So that's why we emphasize the chanting. You can try it now. Hare Krishna, Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So it's a simple method. Doesn't require you have to be highly educated, PhD. Even a child. We were at a program last night. This boy, maybe 8, he was really, he was, he knew the tunes. He could sing and play the cartels. So old or young, anybody can take part. If we even hear the holy name on our deathbed, then our future is bright. So this is the process. We emphasize the chanting of the holy name of God. Of course, we also say Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal. It's not just Hare Krishna, but that's our main mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is spoken by Sukadeva Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit on his deathbed here in Delhi, hereabouts. He was the king, but he was cursed by a Brahmin boy to die in 7 days. So he could have counteracted that curse, but he accepted it and came to his last days on the Ganga or Yamuna come together. Anyway, in Delhi, I guess the Yamuna is not. So he was, and when he came, there was Sukadeva Goswami. He also came, just a 17-year-old boy. He was completely naked, but he had heard Srimad Bhagavatam from his father, Vyasadeva, while he was in the womb. And so he just left home and kind of took sannyas at the age of 16 or 17. But he was recognized by the saintly person as the empowered living entity. So he was chosen to speak to Maharaj Parikshit in those 7 days. So Srimad Bhagavatam consists of that exchange between Sukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit. And the first question was, what is the duty of one who is about to die? Because he was going to die in 7 days. So he wanted to know what he should do. So he had 7 days notice, but we don't know when we're going to die, especially on your roads. No offense. It's like a cultural shock for me to come here and see that the way people drive. Okay. Everybody's going, nobody stays in the lane. Anyway, you can die on the road very easily. That's the purport. No, it's true. In India, 500,000 people a year die on the road. And the two-wheelers, the scooters, they're 80% more than the drivers because they have nothing knocked over. So better be chanting Hare Krishna because you can die at any moment. And that's a fact. You can die with sitting peacefully. It could be earthquake or it could be some meteor could fall. But we should be prepared. That's the idea. But also, if we do have time at the time of death, that's good. If the doctor gives us 2 months' notice, then we should go to the Association of Devotees and hear from them regularly in those last days. That's why Srila Prabhupada created this International Society for Krishna Consciousness to give us a chance to associate regularly, just like you're coming, because you knew there's a program this morning, chanting and dancing and philosophy. Yeah, so we have a philosophy, there's no doubt. We have a very profound and at the same time simple philosophy. The basic point is God is great, we're small. Our constitutional position is to please Him, just like the hand. It doesn't try to take the food directly. It understands that if I bring the food to the mouth, the mouth can taste it and digest it, swallowing it. But the hand doesn't have that capacity. But if it just cooperates with the whole body, it gets whatever it needs. It doesn't have to worry about food, it's being supplied. So something like that. We're a particle of God. If we serve Him in a happy way, because it is a joyful way. Susukam, we were reading last night. Susukam, not only happy, but very happy, this process of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada was once asked, are you hippies? And the reporter asked him, because at that time there were a lot of hippies. Hippies mean they didn't change their clothes very much. They had long hair. They, like that. So Prabhupada said, no, we're not hippies, we're happies. So this is the philosophy. How to be really happy without interruption. Brahma bhuta prasanadma nasochati nakanchati samasarvesu bhutesu. Then if we do those things, what is that? Brahma bhuta prasanadma. If we understand that we're Brahman and that we're joyful, our nature is spiritual, then Brahma bhuta nasochati. We don't hanker or lament. Because that's generally what we're doing. We're hankering for something we don't have. And we think, oh, when I get that, I'll be happy. Or we're lamenting for an opportunity that we missed. So these things we have to give up. Nasochati nakanchati. Samasarve subhutes. Then we see everyone as spirit soul. Then we can begin our service to the Lord. Sishi Gauranitai Ki. What's the name of the deity again? Shri Radha Madha Mohan Ki. Shri Jagannath Baladevi Subhadra Maharani Ki. Okay, so let's read a little bit. We're in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 3, Text 13. Is it on the board here? This is, maybe you're better at it, huh? Because it's not in rhyme, like it's prose. I can struggle through. Kinchayam Virajasya Apatya Kama Prajam.
Bhavadrisham. Shall I read?
Yeah.
किञ्चयं राजर्षेरपत्यकामप्रजां भवदृशाम् आशा आशास् आशासान् ईश्वरम् आशीषान् सर्गापवर्गयोरपि भवन्तम् उपधावन्ति प्रजायाम् अर्थप्रत्ययो धनन्दम् इवाधनं फलिकारणम्.
Very nice. I think we'll just go to the word by word. Kincha, moreover. Ayam, this. Rajarishi, pious king. Nabi. Apatyakama, desiring offspring. Pajam, a son. Babadvishim, exactly like you. Ashanaha, hoping for. Ishvaram, the supreme controller. Ashisham, of benedictions. Svarga Aparvagayo, of the heavenly planets and liberation. Api, although. Bhavantam, you. Upahavati, worships. Vajayam, children. Artha, Pratyayahaya, regarded as the ultimate goal of life. Dhanadam, unto a person who can give immense wealth as charity. Iva, like. Adanaha, a poor man. Palakaranam, a little husk. Translation, dear Lord, here is the great King Nabi, whose ultimate goal of life is to have a son like you. Your Lordship, his position is like that of a person approaching a very rich man and begging for a little grain. Maharaj Nabi is so desirous of having a son that he is worshipping you for a son, although you can offer him any exalted position, including elevation to the heavenly planets or liberation back to Godhead. So the point being made is if we have the association of the Lord, we want to ask him something. We shouldn't ask him for something like a son. We should ask him that please, you become my son, or please uh, qualify me for attaining your kingdom, for entering into the spiritual world. That was Prabhupada's magazine, Back Home, Back to Godhead. He was encouraging everyone to qualify to enter into the spiritual world, especially Goloka Vrindavan. Okay. Purport, the priests were a little ashamed that King Nabi was performing a great sacrifice just to ask the Lord's benediction for a son. The Lord could have promoted him to the heavenly planets or the Vaikuntha planets. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us how to approach the Supreme Lord and ask him for the ultimate benediction. He says, Na danam na janam na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. He did not want to ask the Supreme Lord for anything material. Material opulence means riches, a nice family, a good wife, and many followers. But an intelligent devotee doesn't ask the Lord, the Supreme Lord, for anything material. His only prayer is, Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvara Bhavatat Bhakti Ahoita Kitvahi. He wants to be engaged perpetually in the loving service of the Lord. He does not want promotion to the heavenly planets or mukti, liberation from material bondage. If this were the case, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not have said, Mama Janmani Janmani. It doesn't matter to a devotee whether or not he takes birth life after life, as long as he remains a devotee. Actually, eternal liberation means returning home back to Godhead. A devotee is never concerned about anything material. Although Nabi Maharaj wanted a son like Vishnu, wanting a son like God is also a form of sense gratification. A pure devotee wants only to engage in the Lord's loving service. So this is the goal. And we might think it's impossible, Everybody has some desire, we would think. But we met a person, His Divine Grace Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who was at that level. He was a pure devotee, and we saw that he had no personal interest. His only interest was to please his spiritual master and Krishna. And he did that in grand style. Nobody could check him, although by material calculation, he was an old man coming to a foreign country, no money, wandering for 1 year without anything substantial happening. But he persevered, and because of that, that one old man is able to create this international society for Krishna consciousness. And even in his lifetime, there was over 100 centers that were created. But how is it possible? Because of it, Krishna was behind him. He wrote a wonderful poem there when he came to America about how he wanted to be a puppet in the hand of the puppet master, or Krishna. And his prayer was, make me dance, make me dance, make me dance. So this was the mood of the pure devotee. He just wants to be an instrument in the hand of the Lord. And the Lord is very eager to bring this renegade souls back to the spiritual world. So this should be our desire also. We want to go back home, back to Godhead. But generally, people coming, even now, they're praying. What are they praying for? Oh, let me get good grades in school. Let me get a new car. This is like having the mercy of the king, and the king is ready to give you whatever you want, and you say, give me a handful of ashes. Not very smart. If you're smart, you should try to take advantage. The Lord is there, that's a fact. He's there on the altar. So you should learn how to pray to the Lord properly, in such a way that's really the best benefit for yourself. And that is to get out of the material world and to go back to the spiritual world. But this is rare that people have that desire. They think this world is all in all, and they can have an advantage here, they'll be happy. How do you get an advantage? Well, education, yeah, PhD, ABC, that's very good. Mothers are very happy, PhD. My son is a doctor. Well, what is that? You're asking God for a pinch of ashes. He can give you himself. He can come directly in front of you and take you by the hand. Like he did Dhruva in his own body. He came back. He sent a carrier with Garuda as the flyer. So we should learn what to ask for. So when we chant Hare Krishna, we're also asking for something. Hare is the energy of the Lord. Krishna is the name of the Lord. And what are we asking? Yes, we're asking to be engaged in His service. Well, people say, well, what do I want to do service? No, I want to be the enjoyer. I want to be the proprietor. But this is not your position. You can't keep that position. You may appear, by the worldly sense, to be a big proprietor. But in a few days, you'll be gone. And then the property will still be there. Your offspring will be fighting over it in the court. So what is the use of this money? That was the bhajan we were just reading. This life is tottering like a drop of water on the lotus petal. It can be finished at any moment. So why look for an advantage in this place? Rather, we should finish up our business here and qualify to go back to the spiritual world. It doesn't mean that while we're here, we won't find satisfaction. The sun shines, the seasons change, the devotee, pleasure comes to the devotee's senses, but he doesn't hanker after it. He doesn't run after it. Because Lord Buddha also said, pleasure comes of its own accord, just like suffering comes. Nobody's asking for suffering, but in everybody's life there's some suffering. So happiness is the same. Don't be mad after finding pleasure. Then they go to the discotheque, see naked dance, and this way they think, now I'm happy. I saw the breasts of a woman. So this is the futile pursuit of happiness in this material world. Therefore, Krishna said, dukkhalayam and ashashvatam. What is that? Temporary and full of misery. But we don't believe that. We think, no, I can be happy here. Just give me enough money. I'll be happy. I'll show you. But what is the few days? We're eternal. Even on this world is how many billions of years old. How can we expect to remain here? No, we're going to be kicked out. Sure as death. Death is coming to everyone. So we're not being morbid, we're being realistic. And we say those who are not realistic, they're living in this fairyland, some imaginary place where there's no trouble. No, this place is meant to be troublesome. Krishna makes it troublesome so that we realize this is not my real home. And then we can give up our attachment to it, especially family. Very difficult to give up attachment to family. But this is the goal. We want to enter into Krishna's family. Of course, doesn't mean we can't have affection for our family members. But ultimately, we came into this world alone, and we go out of the world alone. We don't bring our family with us. We don't come with our family. So we should finish up our business here and qualify to enter into the spiritual world. And then we can be eternally happy, full of knowledge and bliss. This is what Krishna is promising. And he tells us at the end of the Gita that those who are actively canvassing on my behalf, bringing people to me, they're very dear to me. So this is an easy way to get Krishna's mercy, by preaching, by telling people about Krishna, how wonderful he is, and how by serving him, you can fulfill all your desires. Everything will be arranged by the Lord. You don't have to worry. Your faith is there, then Krishna will take care of you. But faith is not an easy thing, but it's the most valuable thing. So how do we develop faith? Yes, we develop faith by associating with those who are more faithful. And then we see, just like with Srila Prabhupada. We didn't know anything about Krishna, but we saw that this man, by material estimation, he was old. He had no wife. He had not much money. In the beginning, he had nothing. So how could he always be so happy? He was. That was one thing we saw. He was joyful. No matter how you approached him, underneath there was the joyfulness was there. And he was free from envy. He wrote every letter, your ever well-wisher. That was Prabhupada's mood. He was coming to give something. At that time, there were also Indians coming to America to learn tech or whatever. And he said, that's the difference between you and me. I've come to give something. You've come to beg something. He was giving us, Americans. He was giving us the highest thing. But if you're going to America to get something, that's a different mood. So Prabhupada's mood was not to take something, but to give. And he was giving wherever he met. Like the first time I met Srila Prabhupada, I was introduced by another devotee. This is Bhakta so-and-so. And I had never seen Prabhupada in person. I mean, I saw him in class, but I never saw him face to face. We were in the same. And what is the first thing he said to me? Before I even spoke, before I did anything, he said, thank you very much. That was the Prabhupada's mood. He was thankful to anybody who was coming. He threw a big net. Come, take prasadam. He was cooking himself for the new people who were coming, cooking chapatis, stacks, and personally cooking and feeding the devotee. He was giving. He was always giving his time. He had plenty of time, especially in the early days. Of course, when the movement started to grow so rapidly, then he had to delegate GBC, temple president, so on. But in the beginning, anybody could approach Prabhupada and talk to him. I remember in New Vrindavan, 1966. We came there and Prabhupada was sitting and people were coming. By that time, it was not 66, it was 68. Yeah. Or 69, excuse me, I had graduated. 69, it was new. The movement was not so expanded. And Prabhupada was sitting there and anybody could come to him and talk. And I remember I came and I was, listening to Prabhupada talk and then my legs started hurting, so I got up and I did some practical service. And like a half an hour later, I looked back and Prabhupada was still sitting there. And new people were coming and he was talking and new people were coming. He was giving himself so generously. That was the most amazing thing I saw. And everybody was satisfied. He was giving his association. And they all felt that this person likes me, that this person is my well-wisher. And he was. And so we wanted to have a relationship with him. And he was saying, yes, you can be like me. This is the process. Chant Hare Krishna. Follow these 4 regulated principles. And you can also become pure and happy. Happy within. Prabhupada's happiness was Atmarama. He was satisfied within. And we can have that same satisfaction. But we have to take the process. Otherwise, what is the most famous song of the Rolling Stones? I can't get no satisfaction, but I try and I try and I try. Wherever they go, that Mick Jagger says, people ask them to sing that song. Why is that? Because people are frustrated. And they say, well, I'm not the only one frustrated. The 500 people in the room, they feel the same as me. I can't get no satisfaction. So they find a little happiness. Misery likes company. Everybody else is miserable, so I'm normal. That's what passes for normal. You're not so miserable. And you can lament it. I can't get no satisfaction. And when 100 people are singing that, then you feel a little relief. Well, I'm normal. I'm not the only one who can't find satisfaction. Because there is no satisfaction in this world. We want eternal life full of knowledge and bliss. It's not available. It's like looking for water in the desert. It's not available. Water is there, but not in the desert. Happiness is there. Real happiness is there, but not in the material world. It's just not here. But generally, we don't believe that. Well, you may not be happy, but I'm going to be happy. As soon as I find that right man, as soon as I get the job I want, then I'm going to be happy. So this way we're going, birth after birth, seeking happiness in a place where there is no happiness. Therefore, we're singing, I can't get no satisfaction. Okay? Become a devotee and you'll be satisfied. That's a fact. Any questions? Yes, sir. Give a microphone. Right in the back, straight back.
Maharaj, in spite of hearing so many times and personally experiencing, we see that the living entities still don't come back to Krishna. Even if they come, they are being cheated by bogus gurus, especially in a country like India. Bogus gurus, pseudo gurus. So what should be Iskcon's
we should expose
strategy?
those bogus gurus. That's one thing we can do. Prabhupada gave the example how Krishna was killing the demons. So we don't kill. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed us by his example with Jai and Vijay, Jagai and Madhai, that we don't have to kill, but we have to kill their demoniac mentality. So Prabhupada expected us, working for Krishna, to expose these rascals. You were saying bogus gurus. Yeah, they are bogus for the most part. Like I was going to one of those bogus gurus, and he was telling us to meditate and be still and know that you are God. And I was so stupid, I thought, well, I never thought I was God, but maybe I should try it. So like that, people are cheated. I was being cheated. But by good fortune, I met the devotee. And I was immediately attracted. Boy, these people are sincere. And so I kept their association. So the point is, it's not easy because this is Maya's kingdom. Prabhupada was asked that when he came to London. The Mataji, emotionally, she said, Prabhupada, you're so wonderful. You want to save the whole world. Srila Prabhupada said, yes, but it's not easy because this is Maya's kingdom. Just like the desert, there's no water. So this is a place where it's very difficult to be Krishna conscious. But by the example of the pure devotee, we can also follow in his footsteps. Otherwise, Bhagavad Gita has been available in the West for 400 years. Thoreau, Emerson, these people, they appreciated it too. But nobody became a devotee because we didn't have an example. But when we saw, this is what a devotee does, this is what he looks like, this is his activity, then we thought, wow, that's wonderful. And he was encouraging, you can also become a devotee. I don't have a monopoly on it. He wanted everybody to become guru. He didn't say, I'm going to be a guru and you'll never be able to represent God. Because Guru is simply that he is representing God, representing God. So it's not so difficult in one sense. Just represent what we've heard. And then we can also get Krishna's mercy. He'll be pleased with us if we do his work. He said, no one is more dear to me than he who explains this subject to innocent people. So there are many innocent people in your country, and I see practically many are coming. I wasn't here for 2 years. I see the temples are expanding. Everywhere I go, I'm impressed. There's more temples, more people are coming, especially in India. This is the one area in the world that is expanding more than any place else. So you shouldn't be discouraged. Of course, there's a choice. People have their motive. Like I'm saying, they're coming mostly to get something. I mean, they come like this to God, right? Give me something, give me something. But we have to see that this is foolish. This is like the example there. We asked the king for a handful of ashes. But I kind of cut you off. Finish your... That's all right?
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other comments or question?
Maharaj, see, even after he had darshan of Lord Vishnu, Maharaj Nabi is asking for a son. So,
it's hard for me to follow.
Maharaj Nabi is asking for a benediction of having a son.
Oh, yeah.
So
but the Prabhupada is saying it's foolish. Why do you need a son?
But we see that a vast majority of those who are pious also.
Yeah, the majority, but we don't want to be in the majority. Majority is gliding to hell. That's one thing you shouldn't expect, that there'll always be some opposition who will say, well, why are you wasting your time chanting Hare Krishna? You could be earning a degree, you could be making money, you could be having children and so on. But these things won't really satisfy us. If having money made you happy, then why there's so many quarreling, and even in the rich families? It doesn't make you happy. They even sing like that. Money can buy you love, can buy you love. Money can buy you love. Love is the highest thing. They know that, but where is the love? A little love, we say, is their mother and the child. And that's temporary. When the child is completely dependent on the mother, and the mother has that maternal affection. But that also outgrows. It's not the same when the boy is 14 or 15. Or girl. So no, don't look for happiness here. Krishna certifies. Dukkalayam. What does dukkalayam mean? Full of trouble. We're not surprised that this is full of trouble. You don't have mosquitoes here? Or it comes in the rainy season? Because that's a trouble, right? When I was here in India before, I was living sometimes in Vrindavan and in Delhi and Chandigarh. And I got malaria like 5 times. So that was a trouble. Mosquito buzzing in your head, you're trying to sleep. Bzz, bzz. Trouble from other living entities, trouble from our own mind and body, trouble from the nature. But we think we can cure these troubles. No. They're meant to be troublesome so that we can become detached from them. Because without being detached from them, we're going to come back in the next family, in another body. And we can't escape the cycle of birth and death. So we should think like that. The trouble is coming, it should be worse. But because I'm becoming a devotee, Krishna has minimized it. But according to you, I'm such a rascal, I should be suffering worse. Just like Lord Jesus was being crucified, but he was able to transcend that. We accept that. He was saying, Father, forgive them. See how exalted his consciousness was? We have a lot of respect for Lord Jesus. But the followers of Lord Jesus, they have one thing wrong. They think he's God. He's not God. He's Jiva Tattva. They don't know the science so carefully. Read the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. You get this real theology is there. There's Krishna. There's the living entities. And there's material nature. And they're not the same. The living entity cannot become Vishnu. Vishnu Tattva. Vishnu Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and Mahatattva. They're the truth. This microphone is not living. It's earth and so whatever, material elements. It's not spiritual. But if it's used in spiritual life, then it can be valuable. We don't throw a material thing away. We don't throw money away. We can use it in Krishna's service. Then it becomes spiritualized. So this philosophy is bulletproof. Nobody can defeat it. You bring the biggest scholars and we can have a conference and they won't come. There's Ramakrishna people, Vivekananda, and so these what's the name? Satya Sai Baba people. These who is the one in America who's anyway? They don't have a philosophy like we do. We have Bhagavad Gita as it is. Nobody can defeat it. Just learn how to represent it. Then you become guru. You can become guru in your own land here. Guru doesn't necessarily mean that you're accepting disciples. It means that you're heavy with knowledge. That's the real meaning. One who is heavy with knowledge. And the opposite is Lagu, is very light, like a cotton swab, can be blown. We saw Srila Prabhupada, nobody could defeat him. That was heaviness. They would challenge. He was with one professor, going back and forth, back and forth. The professor stopped and said, "How do you know that you know?" Prabhupada was so confident that it amazed the professor that he questioned, "How do you know that you know?" So that's a good question. How do you know? Well, because we're getting it from the proper source. We're not speculating, maybe, perhaps, could be. No, we're accepting descending knowledge. Parampara. Therefore, we emphasize parampara. Therefore, we're against these Rikvik people. They say now, Krishna came to establish parampara, but they say Prabhupada came to stop parampara. What is that? Even if Prabhupada wanted to, he doesn't have the power because parampara, dharma to shakshat bhagavat, is given by God. Parampara is something God made. So the jiva, Prabhupada was a jiva. He can't change what God made, what religious principle is there. That's a religious principle. We should get the knowledge, descending process. So it's a very clear, Prabhupada said this Krishna consciousness is like the blue sky, very clear, but we have to understand it from this side and that side. And then nobody can budge us. We become guru, we become heavy. Not necessarily disciples, but we become heavy in knowledge. You can't be tilted. Otherwise, these people maybe, perhaps, could be the scientists. We're going to show you, who is that Hawkins guy who was in a wheelchair? Yeah. He was telling us he's going to tell us what caused the Big Bang. Just see. He doesn't know what caused the Big Bang, but he's going to tell us what caused the Big Bang. These people are bluffing, that's all. They don't want to believe in God. His wife was a Christian. She said, he becomes so obnoxious. She was talking about her own husband. Because he is proud, arrogant. He knows so much. This is the danger of being over-educated. That verse is there, right? Mayaya paritagyana. They have so much knowledge that they become stupid. We can tell them on their face, you're stupid. Because that's what Krishna tells them. Avajanti mam mudha. What does mudha mean? It means stupid, right? If you say something is a mudha. So we didn't say it, Krishna's saying it. We're just representing. Okay, anyone else want to challenge us?
Hare Krishna. So we were very fortunate to have the association of His Holiness Trivikram Swami Maharaj from the last 3 days. Maharaj has been sharing his association with Srila Prabhupada and also sharing his personal experiences. And Maharaj kindly gave the gifts to all the devotees yesterday, the Srila Prabhupada Marathon book distribution prizes. So we were very fortunate to have his association. So let us heartily thank Maharaj and request Maharaj to again keep coming here and give his valuable association. So let us heartily thank Maharaj by once loudly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So
Gopimananda.
from Iskcon Hyderabad, devotees would like to give small dakshina and some gift. Maharaj, please accept it.
Oh. Very nice, Mahaprashadam. And what is this? Oh. Yeah, I'll open it.
Maharaj is leaving around 11:15, so devotees can come for doing kirtan and sending off. Hari Bol.
Shri Radha Madhava Mahan Ki. So thank you very much. I do plan to come back. Let's see what Krishna's plan is. I'm in my 84th year, so depending on my health is okay, but you never know. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, we have one last opportunity. Maharaj has written this book about Srila Prabhupada, Priceless Moments with Pure Devotee, and Maharaj has already signed it. So if devotees would like to have a copy for themselves, I request kindly to come and collect it from the lotus hands of Maharaj for a small donation of 200 rupees. Hare Krishna.
I think many of you already got the book, right?
Yeah. We can scan and take the book.
That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. You're not going to be done.
Yesterday, if someone has not collected this book,